So the Doddie Cup 500, you're involved. Tell us a bit about the event.
Yeah, I think the first thing was we went up last year and did a ride around the borders as obviously a support for Doddie's foundation and grow some awareness. And I think from that, we had a great laugh. A couple of days, I had a chance to have a few beers with Doddie and do the cycle race. We looked at potentially looking at a couple of other events, and we saw one was in Portugal, which looked a lot better. Then suddenly someone came back and gone, was this ride in February from Murrayfield down to Cardiff, and somehow we seem to lose the Portugal thread, and we've ended up on this. So it's supposed to be bringing the ball down to the game down in Cardiff, and it's 500 miles relay between four of us, and myself and Carl Hogg, who rode the borders ride last year, sort of said, can we get a crowd together that knew Doddie, hopefully raise some awareness, raise a bit of money, and have a good laugh and take the mick out of each other. 48 hours riding down the length of Scotland and England into Wales.
The Melrose Falcons, how much is the team looking forward to it? Are you training going well?
Yeah, well, I think the team's varying in ability. I think will be so. Have a look at Craig Joyner, he's definitely going up hills. Myself and Hoggy are probably picking up the back of the pack, but it's just going to be heads down. I think it'll be interesting to see what and how many other riders are in. Talking about sort of numbers around 200. So what does that put? Potentially 50 on the road at a time. And I know Rob Wainwright, who rode last year, and he's behind it organising, and he's a hell of an athlete. So I think it was in rumours that he was going to do the whole thing himself. So I'm not into that yet. So I'm definitely in the relay and see if we can negotiate more hours in the bus than out on the road.
So it's 48 hours to do it, and you talk about relay system. It's quite a gruelling event to be going through the night and
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's and I think. I saw something that we have to ride 2 at night as well, so that increases the hours on the road, and for obvious reasons. And I think there's stop-offs. There's a couple of stop-offs at certain rugby clubs, obviously, but they're about 2 or 3 hours where it's trying to get a bit of sleep and then get back on the road. I suppose that's just to make sure everyone's okay and before we keep moving again. So we've got a support team at the moment. We're looking for a little bit more comfortable, but it's a van, and at the moment it's a sleeping bag in the back, and get woken up for your shift and get out on the road.
Doddie, obviously a former teammate of yours, someone you supported throughout his journey in recent times. Talk us through your relationship with him and obviously how much the foundation means to you.
Well, I think the foundation is Doddie's drive, and I think for me to see a friend struck down by a disease that we still know so little about, and to see his reaction to it really is I think we can spend a lot of time and sort of wonder how we'd react in those situations, but to watch his reaction, I think I think it's sort of £6.5 million that's been raised so far, and he's been able to target that funding to areas that haven't been looked at with the disease before. It's raised awareness, to get it into government conversations and everything else. So, to do that, at any time, but to be the person that's suffering the disease and drive that at the same time is, it is a huge credit to him and everyone else, his family and everyone else. And I know Hoggy's wife Jill has been a huge part of structure, and I know rugby's been a huge part of saying how can we help, and this is probably just a very small part, but hopefully I might get a chance for a whiskey with him on Wednesday before we set sail, but if we can raise some money and some awareness that helps, then that's a pretty small part.
3 weeks to go to the go. Final preparations, and then is it just hopefully raising as much as possible?
Yeah, I think preparation-wise has been a balance between how much train and whether I can lose some weight. I think I think definitely losing some weight would help on certain parts, I think myself and Radu, the strength and conditioning guy, are in early in the morning getting sort of the watt bike out. It's been pretty difficult because it's dark in the morning and dark in the evening, so get a chance to get out on the bike's been pretty limited. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's one of those events. When you get into the event, you just got to get through it. And I'm sure the cold is my biggest concern at the moment. And sort of fingers crossed is we're not going through snow. I did something. I joined the ride. What was this? 3 years ago to support a guy in Redbuff who was doing something for Doddie. And all I did was hail and rain for like 3 hours, so we had to stop in a pub. So I'm hoping that's not the start of the event.
Like the case of every penny helps, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and that's where I just, appreciative of anybody's, but if we can, read the story. There's 4 people who we all had a journey with Doddie in a rugby sense, and I know there's hundreds of others, and I know there's a Doddie aid across this whole month in terms of activity, but anything people could, it goes to a good cause, and it's definitely making a difference. It would be very appreciated any support we can get.